Hi, it's Scott Vogel on sex addiction. I'm going to share with you 4 ways for treating sex addicts. Sex addiction is, in fact, a complex disorder and a disease, and it requires combined treatments including individual therapy, group therapy, counseling, and in some cases, psychiatric medicines. According to Dr. Ronald Frederick, PhD, a psychologist and co-founder of the Center for Courageous Living in Beverly Hills, California, sex addiction is becoming more prevalent. He quotes, "It seems the number of people seeking therapy for sex addiction has increased. 3 to 6% of the population is believed to suffer from sexual addiction. But because of the stigma and people not seeking treatment and wanting to stay hidden, this statistic may be an underestimate. According to Patrick Carnes, PhD, this behavior is more common in men than in women. He says that 20 to 25% of sex addiction sufferers are women. Now that's a growing problem, but fortunately there are many treatments, the most common being therapy, support groups, and psychiatric medicines. So Dr. Frederick says that people should first seek an expert, one trained in treating sexual disorders. Now, there is a list of appropriate therapists that can be found through the SSTAR, the Society for Sex Therapy and Research. You can also go to the IITAP, International Institute for Trauma and Addiction Professionals. Both of those sites have a listing of qualified and certified therapists. Dr. Frederick also recommends a combination of individual group therapy such as 12-step programs, as well as psychiatric medications for those that need it. The next way to treat sex addicts is through psychiatric medications. Sex addicts under the treatment of a psychiatrist might be prescribed medications to help treat the symptoms of their sexual addiction. Treatment may also involve psychiatric medicines such as SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors like Prozac or Paxil. And what these do is they control the impulses and the compulsive behaviors kind of as a mood stabilizer so that the impulses are not as strong as they were, enabling the sex addict to get into recovery. Now, not every sex addict will need psychiatric drugs, but in some cases they're necessary to treat a lot of the other mood disorders that may be part of the underlying problems caused by the addiction itself. The third way to treat sex addicts is through group therapy. Enrolling in one of the 12-step fellowships of SA, which is Sex Addicts Anonymous, SAA, which is Sex Addicts Anonymous, actually SA was Sexaholics Anonymous, and then SLAA, Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. These programs have been modeled after the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous and is an effective way in treating sex addiction. What these programs do is they provide group support, they provide others with more experience, and it's a safe place to share issues people are facing. They can share their successes, their relapses with someone else who understands. It's a group setting that's a great place to deal with the shame and the guilt that goes hand in hand with sexual addictions, because other recovering addicts can give support and help when needed. There's strength in sharing with other people that know what you're going through, and there's an awful lot of hope in this type of group support environment, and it is a proven model that has worked for Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and now is proving very effective in the recovery from sex addiction. The final piece is counseling. Restoring relationships is a very important part of recovery process. During the addiction, many of friends, families, loved ones' relationships have been damaged. So family counseling and couples counseling are recommended during the recovery process. It helps to rebuild the trust and the intimacy. These forms are tailored to a more personal approach so that families and couples can get the help that they need. So in review, first we talked about individual therapy, which is very helpful for the sex-addicted individual. Then we talked about the use of psychiatric medications for treating the impulses and compulsiveness. Then group therapy with the 12-step fellowships, and counseling, family and couples counseling. Using a combination of some of the above or all of the above will go a long way to helping treat a sex addict. Visit our YouTube channel on sex addiction for more videos on sex addiction and recovery from sex addiction. Go to www.onsexaddiction.com for a free video explaining what sex addiction is, 7 symptoms of sex addiction, 4 traumas of sex addiction, and the 4 faulty core beliefs set up by the traumas of sex addiction, as well as the solution, the 7 paths to success in recovery from sex addiction. You'll also find more information about sex addiction and sex addiction recovery.